Monday, and it's not Wednesday, and it's not Thursday, and it's not Friday, and it's not Saturday, and it's not Sunday, then
It must be Tuesday.
there you have it, live and direct from the two, right? Left handed, right here. You got the Bears over there, aka High Ceilings, right? AKA Kimbo Nice is in the house. You already know what it is and how we give it up. Um, we already wasted 40 seconds. We got to get every second in tonight. A lot to talk about. WNBA draft. Browski's ready to get it cracking. Um, NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, right? Um, I still don't think Deontay Wilder is anything to be feared. I think it's just a money grab for him at this point. But that's going to be my get down on it. Brasky's in the building. What up, Kimbo Slice? What's the deal? How you feel? What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. WNBA draft was last night. It was a decent showing. I like to see the coaches there, the players there. We saw history being made. We saw records being broken. We've seen a crazy trade happen in that draft day that no one expected. It gave you everything that you wanted. Um, Other than that, watching baseball, getting ready for the NBA playoffs. Play-in games starts today. Got two more tomorrow. My Sixers in the play-in game. Don't really know what to expect. Um, but it's just been, real chill week so far. What's going on with you?
Um, Maintaining, trying to stay off of CNN. You know what I mean, and make it do make it do what it do, and just try not to be mad at Prime Video for having the playing games on Prime because I don't have Prime and I'm not jumping out the window. I'll wait till
Crazy.
weekend.
It's just
You know what I
craziness. Here we
mean?
go again.
And to alienate the fans who've been watching the games and stuff all season long. Now they kind of like just kick them to the curb. This just shows where they are with it. But back to Browski WNBA draft. We talked about it. This had all the makings of being the best draft ever. All right, added the two expansion teams, the CBA, and there's labor peace, you know, and the draft was decent. You had some talent in the draft, so that kind of made it come full circle for me. I was interested in kind of seeing who was going to go where, and how that was going to work out, and especially with the free agency thing going on. So this is an exciting time for the WNBA. You know, um, when you talk about new faces in different places, then that's literally the code for the WNBA. And I think
Hmm.
I think that's great. I think that's super dope. I think that's what the WNBA needs, a shot in the arm. Um, you know, but I'm gonna say this though, Browski. I think the WNBA is gonna have a new commissioner in the and this is just coming from an interested observer because you're closer to the situation than me. But I just think that um,
Time to
and
pass
some
the
things I want
torch.
to say. Right, I don't think that you know um, she handled it the way it should be handled. I'll leave it at that. But speaking about the draft, the number one pick, Az Flood, um, going to the Dallas Wings, and she's uniting with what's the girl's name? Paige
Paige.
Buck Paige, right? So well, are we going to be looking for instant turnaround from the Dallas Mavericks, or are they going to kind of like grow into something? Because the other teams in the league making power moves, yo. You know what I mean? Seattle was doing their thing. Talk about that trade. I didn't think that it hit. as bad as people saying it, like, oh well, some conspiracy, it was something going on and things of that nature. What did you think about the was it Forte Johnson? What did you think about that trade?
I actually think the trade was a smart move for the Valkyrie. One, the Valkyrie is guard heavy already, but it also kind of saved salary cap space. Now that these teams have money and have extra roster spots, they could be more strategic with the moves they made. Um, I didn't like. I was shocked when the trade was made because I thought that having Fly J and Golden State, a fairly new team, she could potentially be like the face of that franchise. But when I sat back and thought about it, the team that they have there is a lot of team basketball. No real superstar. Fly J is a superstar. You know, she's a bona fide star, and I just think they're waiting for next season. I think the Valkyrie have their eye on a one person out of the UFC by the name of Juju that will be returning next season, and I think that's who they really have their eye on. Um, but the draft of overall, it was interesting because a lot of teams drafted purely based on name and not with need. Like, don't get me wrong, Ozzy Flood going number one. Then
Mm-hmm.
is she deserving of going number one overall? Yes. But did Dallas really need another guard when you already have the reigning rookie of the year in Paige Beckers, and then you also have a bona fide star in Ariki Abumakani also on the team? So to add another guard where they really need a big, so I was kind of surprised that they passed on Lauren Betts or the chick from France, uh, our fam. I was also surprised that they, went over her. Also with the second pick, um, Olivia Miles. Again, fantastic player, fantastic. But did was that a need for Minnesota? Now, when we look at the team, it's like, I mean, she's a traditional point guard, but they have a point guard. Um, and especially when we don't know if the future won't be back at the beginning of the season because she was out all off season with the surgery. So I just think like a lot of these players, yes, they deserve to be drafted this high, but I don't think they should be on the team that they got drafted to. Lauren Betts going to the Mystics. The Mystics are heavy in the front court. you know, and Lauren Betts again, a fantastic player. Was it needed? I'm not too sure. I think she should have went to Dallas, but overall, like I said, congratulations to these women. Congratulations to USC. I mean, excuse me, UCLA. They whole squad, their whole starting lineup, and their six women off the bench all got drafted. They broke a record. Six players for one school. Um, UConn had the record with five um, being drafted, and one from one school in one draft. So it was very, very good to see players, you know, homegrown, got it from just got it from the dirt, played all the way up to the senior year, win the championship, and then all get drafted in the league that year. That's a like a storybook ending, like for those group of women.
They're gonna make a movie out of it.
I mean, the way that it was set up, it's like you could. It's straight out
You
of a Hallmark movie right there.
know what I'm
Um,
saying?
to salute to Flajay Johnson, getting drafted. Salute to Raven Johnson. Her going to Indiana, I think that's a really perfect spot for her because of her defensive skill sets going on Indiana. When you have Caitlin Clark coming back, they just gave
Kelsey Mitchell.
yeah, Kelsey Mitchell, then Max Still. You still got Leah Boston there, and then you bring in Raven Johnson, who's a really great wing defender. Really improved her 3-point shooting. Um, really good point guard, so you can also allow um, Caitlin and Kelsey to play off the ball if they do a 3 guard set. So they definitely open up the possibilities in Indiana. Um, uh, um, my girl, what's her name? Gabriella Jacquees Jaime, little sister getting drafted. Um,
By Chicago.
Chicago. Chicago started off this off season looking like they was in disarray, making weird moves, trading their best player, and just making all these weird moves. And then coming closer to the draft, it's like you see what's happening there. From free agency, getting players in Skylar Diggins, making the move over there, and then you um, trade for Rakia Jackson, which I was mind blown. And I said, "Oh my God, Rakia getting traded from L.A. going to Chicago, and then you bring in Gabriella." I said, "Oh, Chicago is rebuilding nicely." You know, um, that was I thought that was a good move. Atlanta drafting Orcock from South Carolina. Cool story. She's fairly new to basketball,
Hmm.
kind of similar to how Joel Embiid was when they
I,
started
I
playing
was gonna say
basketball.
that. I didn't think you. I thought you was gonna try to be funny, but yeah, like you only
Yeah,
beat.
how they both started to play basketball at a very um, older age and picked up on it, and now she's in the league. So that was a great pickup. Um, so I mean, the draft was good. You see a couple international players getting drafted. So now that each year we see that the WNBA has now started to expand overseas and now pulling talent from these Euro players, Spain, France, you know, um, and they also find players who also have a little bit of both that European style mixed with a year or two in the NCAA tournament. Like so, the WNBA has now starting to become globally, which is a wonderful and a great step in the future for these franchises because now that you have players from overseas key in on the league here because the women's league overseas, you know, have been thriving. What the WNBA has been fighting for, they already have it over there. So
Hmm.
that's why when the season stopped here, they go straight over there. Or some people just go straight there and didn't even bother entering the draft. So now to see that the talent over there has now reached here, it shows that the world is watching the WNBA. So when people say, "Oh, nobody's watching women's basketball," well, that's a lie because they're watching it overseas too, and that's why these players are now being recruited and being sought after overseas. But how you feel about the draft? What
I
stands out to
mean,
you?
when people say no, nobody watching women's basketball. That means because they're not watching it. That's all.
Hmm.
That's all that means. I was, I had texted you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And because I was like curious. I wanted to see a little nosy. Because I wanted to see how the players were gonna, you know, uh, um, have themselves to these new rookies coming in, how the commissioner was going to acquiesce, how
Hmm.
everything was going to kind of like come together now, which is our kumbaya moment. We got our contracts, we got everything done. The two teams are ready to make their first expansion picks and things of that nature become official. So I was just interested in how all that was going to rock, and I think that it turned out very, very well. In the WNBA, should be looking forward to a great and very, very successful season. Moving right along, that should segue right into what we usually talk about at this time, the NBA. And right now, we are, if you are lucky enough to have Prime Video, you could be watching the NBA play-in right now. Again, the play-in is what it is. You know what I mean? You're playing in to get into the playoffs. They bit off of the NCAA tournament, right? How can we make some more money? How can we make teams that weren't in the playoff mix feel like they are part of the playoff mix and could possibly get into the playoffs and possibly make a run.
Hmm.
Right now, the Knicks are set with their playoff series. They're playing the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this is what I told Sadat X and Brand Nubian. This is what I told a couple of other of my peoples in regards to the New York Knicks. Way back in September and October and November, a lot of people was talking about Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton and this one and that one being hurt. And the Eastern Conference was supposed to belong to the New York Knicks. Mike Brown was going to come in and give some people some burn. Jalen Brunson was going to solidify himself. Carl Anthony Towns was going to step up his toughness. You know what I mean? Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, those guys are going to supply the support system. Um, Here we are now, 2026. NBA playoffs about to begin, and we don't know what we're going to get from the Knicks. You don't know. Um, and people are, in the area they putting on the bravado, like, yeah, the Knicks are going to do this, the Knicks are going to do that. But the Atlanta Hawks have actually been better since they traded Trey Young. Jonathan Kuminga is wild. This is going to be a tougher series than people give it credit for. You thought that when you had Julius Randle and Trey Young was shooting dice in the middle of at Madison Square Garden and all of that. This is not going to be nothing like that. This is going to be playing a younger version of a Indiana Pacers team, long, defensive, and have nothing to lose basically. So when the Knicks go into this series, they have to. No, we're not going with that 1-1 split. You know what I mean? Or you go to Atlanta for Game 3 or whatever. No, put your foot down and show that you mean. But this is the part of the season where you're supposed to show and prove right here. Those 82 games meant nothing. Those 82 games, and I'm just Broski, stop me anytime. You know what I mean? Those 82 games meant nothing, and I mean that for the Knicks. I mean that for the Spurs, right? I don't really talk about the Thunder too much because they're defending champs, right? So all the other teams that had 82 practice games and 82 games to get ready for this stretch right here, however long they decide to make it, because now it's on you. You ain't got to worry about playing 65 games and you the MVP. Let me cook, Browski, right? Now it's on you. You win a number of games, and you can have a parade in June. All that talk about, oh, I want to be like Kobe, and I want people to look up to me and respect me and like me, and I'm here to win championships. Come on now. Come on now. And I'm talking about the East and the West. Come on now. In the Eastern Conference, you got a team in the Boston Celtics now. Everybody all of a sudden is scared of again. You got a team in the Cleveland Cavaliers that nobody pays attention to no more. You got the team in the New York Knicks that nobody knows what the hell's going on with them. Right? Then you got everybody else. You got the Detroit Pistons. When the last time you heard somebody talk about them? Right? So again, the East is a hodgepodge. Whoever is the healthiest, the smartest, Browski, right, can make plays when they need to make plays, no matter who you are, and move on. Because that's what it's about right now. It's about survival, right? So when you talk about the Western Conference, we've been talking for the last 10, 15 years how the Western Conference is so this and that and the third. Now it's the new Western Conference with these new cats, right? These new cats. And they dead serious, right? Everybody thought the San Antonio Spurs was going to take a year or two for them to get it right, get it together. Nah. They're gonna make a deep run. But Kimmy, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. Now it's time to show and prove. You can win those 62 games, 63 games, all of that. Have an MVP, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and Victor Wembanyama and all of that. Everything you did in the regular season means nothing, and I hope De'Aaron Fox can tell you that. Right?
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, because now every game is going to mean something. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, Brosky. I just was kind of like, wanted to speak to some things in regards to this playoffs because a lot of people speak around it, right? And it turns into the same story every year, the same thing. No. 82 games, 65 for some people, got you to where you are right now. First through 10th. Play in, or you're waiting to play game one. It's on you. What's your thoughts, Bowski?
Well, I mean, the one thing that stuck out to me that you said was health. And that has been our Achilles heel, no pun intended, throughout several seasons. And once again, health is an issue. Um, out of nowhere, Joel Embiid has appendicitis. He had to get emergency surgery in Houston, and he's out for the playoffs. So we're in the play-in. We'll play tomorrow. We play Orlando tomorrow. For the chance to play the freaking Celtics. So do I expect us to win tomorrow? Yes, I do expect us to win. We should be able to beat the Magic without Joel, but what's the prize? The Celtics? A possibly 4-game sweep against the Boston Celtics because unfortunately our guy, the anchor of our offense, Joel Embiid, is once again sidelined again. Once again. So that's my future. But with the rest of the playoffs, like we stated about the West, it is definitely a new regime. Um, OKC just just breezing by. Like these guys are just on cruise control. Um, to me, the world matchup to watch in the West is the possibility of a second round matchup of the Nuggets and the Spurs. I think that matchup is going to be um, one a great matchup and two the toughest to kind of score because you have the young guys in San Antonio, Wemby playing amazing, um, Castle, all them guys they balling out in San Antonio, but then you turn and you have the veteran and the nuggets that have been there, and you know what the Joker can give you night in, night out. The question is, can the other guys be consistent enough to give them what he needs as support to get past the Spurs? And I'm looking at you, Jamal Murray, because again in the playoffs, sometimes you tend to fade away. You know, Aaron Gordon. We're looking at you guys, and now they have Russell Westbrook there. We know what Russell does in the playoffs. He also can disappear, or for some strange reason, decide to jack up 10 threes when he's a terrible three-point shooter. You don't know what you're going to get with this guy. But I think that's going to be one of the key matchups to look out for. Um, I feel like the Thunder is going to make it to the Western Conference Final because as much as we love the Lakers and the Rockets, I don't think they can beat them in a seven-game series. Especially the Lakers, they're kind of beat up. You don't know what you're going to get from Austin Reeves. Lucas is hurt. LeBron is 40. Um, and everyone else is inconsistent. DeAndre Ayton, like I never believed that a team that had DeAndre Ayton can win. I have never believed that since he got into the league, you know. So I think the Thunder is going to roll right into the Western Conference Final. And speaking about your Knicks in Atlanta, um, when people see this matchup, I heard a lot of people talking like, "Oh yeah, the Knicks should win in four," and I was like, "Well, y'all must not have watched the Hawks
They don't know what
because
the hell they're talking about.
yeah, because I'm like, this is actually the Knicks' worst scenario to play the Hawks in the first round because if these guys get hot, Joe Johnson has been playing like a man insane, you know. Like you said, Kaminga has been on a tear, and then you throw in all the role play. Like these guys know how to
Hawks
play
have
together.
played hot basketball for a month. You
Yeah,
throw in the Alexander Walker, Dyson
yes,
Daniels,
yes.
right, to go along with Kaminga and what they got
Porzingis.
going on. Yeah, what?
Yeah, so
I
so to
think
me, when I
yeah,
saw this matchup, I said, "Oh, this is the Knicks' worst case scenario." I said the Knicks shot themselves in the foot because if you're not going to be the second seed, then be the fourth seed. I said, well, then just lose the games and be the fourth seed because I would rather be matched up with Toronto than the Hawks. Um, and like you said, that 4-5 series with Cleveland, Toronto, nobody, nobody's gonna watch that series at all. Cleveland should win in the sweep. Um, because Donovan Mitchell alone can carry this team to beat the Raptors. Because we know how James Harden get down in the playoffs. He may show up. He may not show up.
I'm gonna
He
say
may
this.
be he may be excellent in the first game. He'd be excellent in game 1 and 3. 2 and 4, you be like, where the hell is
I, I
James?
I'm gonna say this for you talk Cleveland is supposed to beat Toronto. Toronto beat Cleveland 3 games to none in the regular season.
Yeah, that's the regular season.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. I think that if the Cleveland Cavaliers are serious, that's another team that I mentioned in the top. If they're serious about being in the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, they have to handle their business. 4 or 5 series, notwithstanding Toronto Raptors, whatever. Um, James Harden wasn't on the roster on the Cavaliers roster yet, right?
Exactly.
Um, you know, uh, I think that the Cavaliers have a team to go. They could be in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? But it's always something, and I think that if anybody has to step up, it's going to have to be Donovan Mitchell, right? We've been
Hmm.
waiting for him to do his numbers for years now, and now is the time for him to absolutely, take advantage of a situation. So you're saying in the East, we're going to start with the East real quick. Who do you see coming out of the first round? You said Detroit over Charlotte. in the first round?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Boston against the Sixers.
Yeah.
Okay, Boston.
Yep.
Knicks and the Hawks.
That's tough. It should be the Knicks, but again, I don't know what Knick team I'm going to see game after game. I'm still going to go with the Knicks, maybe in six. Hopefully, if it goes 7 games, then it will be the Hawks.
Mm.
But I got Knicks,
Okay. Cavaliers and the Raptors.
Cavs.
All right, so you got the second round is Detroit and Cleveland.
I'm gonna go with Detroit.
Okay. And then you got the Celtics and the Knicks.
I'm gonna have to go with the Celtics because I know what I'm going to get from from Jason Tatum. I feel like they have a. I feel like he has a chip on his shoulder. I feel like this team, the Celtics, they are playing like they got a chip on their shoulder because everyone counted them out. Because everybody said, "Oh, well, Jason Tatum, got the ACL. We weren't got to worry about Boston.
Right, right, right.
Discredit Jalen Brown, discredit Derek Wright, Pritchard, like discredit the whole squad. Yeah, like no one cared. And
Mm-hmm.
then when Tatum came, well, before he even came back, they were still hanging around that 2-3, standing the whole season. They just been right there. And then when Tatum came back, it's like they just picked up right where they left off at. So I gotta go with the Celtics in six.
Okay, so that is the Eastern Conference Finals is the Celtics and the
And the
Pistons.
Pistons. Yep.
Pistons. So who you got going to the finals?
Celtics.
Okay, so you got the Celtics going to the finals. Okay, West first round, Oklahoma City and Portland.
OKC.
All right. The Thunder's only loss when they was 24-1 was against Portland. Not that that means anything, but I'm just saying. All right, you got OKC, the Spurs and the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, Spurs.
Okay. Denver and Minnesota.
I'm gonna go with the Nuggets.
Okay. The Lakers and the Houston Rockets.
I'm gonna go with Houston.
Okay. Second round, you got Oklahoma City and Houston,
OKC.
San Antonio and Denver.
I'm gonna go with the Nuggets.
Mm. So Western Conference Finals is OKC and Denver. Who you got?
OKC.
So the NBA Finals is OKC and Boston.
Mhm.
Which a lot of people probably say that's what it should have been last year.
Mm.
But OKC and Boston. Um, First round, real quick, Eastern Conference. I'm going to take Detroit, right? And I'm
Mhm.
going to take Boston. I'm going to take Atlanta over the Knicks. I don't trust them. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's like the
I want
coach. I feel you on that. It's like you
I
don't know. It's
want
like
to I want to be confident in my team, but I don't want to. I'm usually here in the
because
team.
you want to be honest.
But this
You
time I
gotta be
want to be, you
honest.
know what I mean, honest about it. I think that the Atlanta Hawks, they've been playing the best basketball for a hot minute now. And again, I think that the only way for me, if the Knicks, can do this thing without going 7 games, Kimmy, is to win the
Mhm.
first two.
Mhm.
And win the first two, and then we'll see. Because now you got a
Mhm.
2 game advantage, and then whatever happens
There
is
you
up to
go.
you. Now, if you split at the Garden the first 2 games,
It's a problem.
no. Um, Cavaliers and Toronto, I got Cleveland. All right, so you take Detroit and Cleveland, I got Detroit. You take Atlanta and Boston. I got Boston. So Boston and Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm gonna take Boston because Detroit again. They gotta lose before they win. They lost in seven last year against the Knicks, but this time they're gonna go farther. But they're gonna lose the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
Um,
I just don't think they have enough offense versus Boston in 7 games.
Oklahoma City and Portland, OKC, Spurs and Phoenix. Spurs, I think it's going to be tougher than people think it's going to be. Um,
Hmm.
Denver, Minnesota. As much as I want to see Anthony Edwards win, I think Denver is finding their stride right now.
Hmm.
12-game winning streak. You know what I mean? Aaron Gordon is healthy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how that thing will go. Lakers and the Houston Rockets. I just want to say that the Lakers now did all of that, and this is where they end up with Luka not playing, Austin Reeves out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But Houston had to deal with Fred Van Fleet being out for the whole season, right?
Hmm.
Steven Adams is injured.
Hmm.
Just gonna Houston Rockets, and to eliminate all of that, I am going to take and jump out the window and say the NBA Finals is going to be the Boston Celtics and the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
I just feel like the Spurs, you know, their dominance over the Oklahoma City Thunder was not a fluke.
Hmm.
I think these guys are young enough, and they understand now that the whole thing about how it's a different season and these are the playoffs and things of that nature. Wemby
Hmm.
has to stay healthy, right? The
That's the
other
key.
guys, the other guys are going to do what they do, but understand those Thunders and Nuggets and Rockets, they ain't going nowhere.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They coming for the gusto. They come to snatch your heart because this is the playoffs now. This is how you get, this is how you
Absolutely.
get your commercial money, right?
Absolutely.
Posterizing
Your
people and
sneaker
all.
bill is, yeah,
Ah,
everything.
word is bond. Talk to it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's where we at right now. Um, I have to throw some stuff in before we get into some baseball. Um, Stanley Cup playoffs. I know I ain't give my hockey people a lot of love, but I think that where we are right now um, is the only thing I got going for me right now is hopefully the New York Islanders can make some noise. All right. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get in depth with it because the hockey playoffs are the truth. The hockey playoffs are the truth. We love the Super Bowl, we love the World Series, and we love the NBA Finals and all of that. But I like the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's when I really get into it because each game means something. And even though recently in the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years we haven't had any games go to like 1 or 2 in the morning, that used to be a regular occurrence in the playoffs. You had games going to 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you would watch that. I would be up
Hmm.
watching that. You know what I'm saying? But we are in the building. This is what we do on Tuesday nights. Myself and Young Bear, aka High Ceilings, is in the building. Let's talk some baseball, Browski. Last week it was all good. I was talking about the Yankees. Whoop de whoop. The Yankees defensively, the Yankees suck. I'm gonna let you talk about your Phillies, and then I'm gonna get into the Yankees, and then we're gonna get up out of here.
um, well, I mean, I'm gonna start out once again. It's extremely early. We're not
Yep.
jumping out the window, but I have seen some things that caught my eye and make me think, here we go again. Um, Especially with the Phillies, not being able to really produce runs without hitting home runs has been a
Mm.
problem. Um, Yesterday exploded with like 13 runs. Kyle Schwarber hit 2 home runs. We was actually playing small ball. We were finally able to score runs. We went a period of, I want to say, almost 19 innings without scoring a run. When we went on that road trip, we didn't score at all. So that was extremely concerning because it was like, oh, we're not hitting home runs, then we're not producing any runs. And then on top of that, that was putting a lot of stress on our starting pitching because we were getting no run support. So he can go out there and throw a gym for 5 to 6 innings just for the just for my offense to not produce nothing, putting a donut on the board. So that was going on for a while. But like I said, yesterday we was able to produce like 13 runs. Today we're losing now 7-3 um, to the Cubs. We had a 3-run home run. See, there we go. We only got those 3 runs because Sosa hit a home run. Nobody else can hit and get on base consistently. So that is, something to just really keep an eye out that I'm going to be looking, for the rest of the season. But it's still early. A lot of home runs been hit around the league, you know. Um, a lot of challenges, that.
A lot of 1-0 games.
And one thing that we talked about before the season started is how the ABS was going to really affect the game
Right.
and showing you who really had the goods and who was really pretending. So we have seen these pitchers really stepped up at the plate and really pitching great games. Like you said, we've seen a lot of 1-0 games, 2-1s, 3-0, 2-3, 4-5. Like we got games where you're not getting any type of runs until the bullpen come in because the starting pitching has just been that dominant. And with the ABS holding these umps accountable and now having my pitchers and catchers being able to, hey, point out your strike zone isn't the strike zone. You're calling these low ball strikes when these are balls. Most umps don't know how to call the bottom of the strike zone. They miss that so much that now we seeing teams winning 9 straight challenges, going
Huh?
9 for 9 out there, we're seeing umps, looking frustrated because hey, we've been frustrated for decades
Yeah.
watching you guys miss
Mess it up.
miss balls and strikes when the game is on the line. We don't have a game tomorrow. This is the last game, and you're calling this a strike when it's 3 inches off the plate. Like, what are we doing?
That's crazy.
And then I can't argue with you about it because you're gonna throw me out the
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
because I'm telling you that you're wrong and you don't want to admit it. So you
Right.
get mad and you say, "Hey, your day is done,"
Hmm.
and it's the fifth inning, and I'm
Right.
sitting here losing my mind because I have watched you call that same pitch a strike for 3 straight innings when it's 4 inches below the strike zone. So I'm just, I'm extremely happy with the system. People were saying, "Oh, we're slowing down the game." Y'all said that about the pitch clock. Nobody
Right.
talks about the pitch
Right.
clock no more.
Right.
That's non-existent. So, this is the first year with this. You'll get over it. I love it. Um, how you feel about your Yankees?
Um, we're tied with the Baltimore Orioles for first place in the division. Um, I feel like we're still having to talk about the Yankees and the lack of defense. The Dodgers called it in the World Series a couple years back. You could beat the Yankees because their defense stinks, and it's still true. Their defense stinks. Um, you can't have you know Walker have a game against the Tampa Bay Rays where the guy hits a ground ball to Jazz Chisholm and it turns into a walk off victory. Like he didn't know where to go with the ball. It's crazy. You put pressure on these dudes, and they just kind of like lose their instinct on how to play the game. Um, Garrett Cole and Rodon hopefully coming back in the near future. And hopefully, we'll do some things. Our bullpen has not, been it. We've given up leads. We're getting beat right now by the Los Angeles Angels. And I just think that right now we're just a team in flux. We don't know which way is up. Aaron Judge could hit, home runs all night long and things of that nature. But if you got Mike Trout hitting 2 home runs too, you know what I mean? Somebody else has got to, do something to step up. On the ABS system, this is what I wanted to say about that. I think that along with what Kimmy said in regards to the umpires and the teams, the changes of strategy, I've seen a challenge call that the umpire said was a strike. It got challenged, it got overturned, it extended the at bat. All right, it turned into a base hit, and and won the game. So it's a lot of that going on too. So these calls are not just oh well, it's a 2-1 count and whatever the case may be. These calls have an effect on how the game proceeds. Without that ABS, Kyle Schwarber would have been called out.
Mm-hmm.
But with the ABS, Kyle Schwarber already knew that the pitch was a ball.
Yep.
And played the umpire. This is an example I'm putting out there. Played the umpire out by taking off his equipment, knowing that the pitch was a ball.
Yeah.
So you don't have to necessarily get in the umpire's face and kick on him and do all of that. No. And I love how Kyle Schwarber did that. That's what you're supposed to do. I am the batter. My job is to know the strike zone. So when that pitch is made, I know it's a ball. But without the ABS, Browski, it's a strikeout. And now we're arguing on podcasts and on sports radio about how the umpire missed the call and things of that nature. Or they might give us, a mistake was made. Like, So now with the ABS system, you don't even get a chance to make no mistake. But the mistake that you do make, it gets illuminated that much more because I'm taking off my equipment. I'm walking towards first base. You're not telling me nothing.
Exactly. I'm gone.
And I'm justified when that big picture come up on the screen and the ball is 1.3 inches off the plate.
Yeah.
That's called a strike. All of that confrontation and that back and forth and that in your face, it goes away, Kimmy. But it's kind of like still in the mix because you're looking at a call that you made wrong in front of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the back and forth with the umps and the manager. I mean, that's a part of baseball.
Uh-huh.
I think the thing that's going to set the managers off is the timing, because you only get 3 seconds after the call is made. You only get 3 seconds. So I think the timing is what's going to have these managers going off, because some of these umps are going to allow these guys to hit the challenge, and it's like 4 or 5 seconds. Like, yo, it's too late. Because I already seen that happen in Minnesota. The pitch was a strike. Called a ball. The guy's about to walk down first base. The pitcher's hitting his head. I don't think the Minnesota Twins manager seen it. And then they challenged it. And then he flips out because it's like it took too long. And it was like, no, we seen it. It was like, it was 4 seconds. And the manager's like, no. He did it within he did it within 3 seconds. Like, no, it was long. And I feel like that's going to be the thing that's going to set people off. Now they're going to be looking at the time and trying to figure out if either the catcher or the pitcher is hitting it in enough time. And then another issue is going to be, well, then only one of them should be able to call. It can't be both of them. Maybe maybe it's the pitcher or maybe it's the catcher, because I don't think you can be able to look at both players at the same time to see who's hitting the top of the head to challenge it. So I
Hmm.
think that's going to be an issue that may come up. But I love the ABS. I'm so happy
Yeah,
it's here.
I mean, I feel like it's revolutionized the game a little bit because now we don't have to worry about the being mad at the umpires and things of that nature. The umpires need to be mad at themselves.
Hmm.
The conversation was, oh well, it's only off a tenth of an inch, but it's still off,
It's still off. You
right?
have a zone.
I'll even give you the ones that's a tenth of an inch off. I'll give you those because those are close calls. But what about the ones that's an inch, 2 inches?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Because that
That's
was like
why
that.
it's here.
Bring Kyle Schwarber one up because again, that's the easiest one to call. That pitch was way outside.
Yeah. It was so
It was
outside, and he called it.
and he called it strike.
Yep.
So for me, that whole situation kind of like it encapsulates the ABS system and how these batters feel about these umpires and the calls that they're going to make, knowing that they're going to be right or wrong. So now,
Yep.
who do you believe, the batter or the umpire?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because the umpire is making the call, but the batter is going to first base. Right? So, like, you know what I'm saying, Browski? Does that make sense? Because the batter's going to first base. Now, he knows. But in prior times, in earlier days, that would turn into a whole argument. Now you got Rob Thompson out there going crazy. You got Kyle Schwarber out there going. Bryce Harper's going bananas. But they're right, Kim.
Yeah.
The whole time they're right. But we can't say nothing because that's the umpire call. The umpire, you can't argue balls or strikes. But now with the ABS system, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How did you get a job as an umpire?
Yeah.
So at the end of the season, what I want to see is a percentage of umpires calls that were challenged. CV Buckner's name will be on that list. Absolutely. So I seen him get a couple back to back pitches. He got wrong already. So again, how do you tell umpires that the calls that they make, they have to be on point? And I've been saying that for years. The umpires, the referees, they're the arbiters of the game. They don't have no reason to get it wrong. They have no reason. So now with the introduction of the instant replay and the video things and the stuff with on NFL productions, the referees are getting all the help they need. Some of the help they don't want because it's making them look bad. But oh well, that's the position you put yourself in. You know, so that's that. So now we are at Browski's favorite part of the show. Well, we're gonna get down and in on some things before we get up out of here. What you getting down on tonight, Browski?
Um. Well, I gotta get down on the WNBA commissioner, um, Kathy Eaglebert. Um. I mean, before the draft, she like did her spew. Uh, it was. I feel like her as a commissioner, it has ran its course. Um, Her tenure is going to be really uh, focused on around this CBA and how long it's taken for this league to expand. Um, and now she's talking about international games, which is all fine in like 2027, but why would we want to play overseas when we're still fighting to get teams here in the States? Like to have a team a year, is too slow. Um, and we can't say that there's no money in it because we've seen the money there and they're doing revenue sharing because they are making money. So the league is producing cash, and I just feel like her. I just feel like she's a bad commissioner. Like
Hmm.
this whole CBA thing, the way that she handled it, it was it was not very becoming of her. She kind of got painted as like money hungry, want to keep everything in house, not really want to share the wealth because, like I said, it was so ironic how out of nowhere you found all this money. Like, oh, the WNBA, we could do revenue sharing now. It's like, well, will this money just land in the back of someone's closet under someone's mattress and you just happen to found it? I just feel like they they made um, with the CBA, they kind of made it had to open up the books, and once the books opened up, it was like, oh, she kind of
Now the
got her hand was
so.
caught in a cookie jar.
Mhm.
So I just feel like I think it's time for them to move on, find another commissioner, someone who has better ideas. I feel like they need like maybe a younger commissioner that can really be in touch with this generation because she's have like an old school style of thinking and you can't think that way anymore. Um, so I'm just hoping that they don't extend her. I hope that they come to a quote unquote mutual agreement to part ways, aka fire her and bring in someone new. I need somebody with some new, fresher ideas for this league because there's something here that can be that can just explode, you know?
Hold your thought, Browski. We got Big Dog Sports 18 salute. Real quick, um, is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame broken? He says since we talking baseball, let me ask a question. Um, he says all the specialization in baseball has messed up baseball. The human error made it interesting. Since y'all talking baseball, let me ask a question, and it'll be Hall of Fame broken. Real quick, Basky, is the
Hmm.
Major League Baseball Hall of Fame broken?
Uh, yes, because again, we have all of these old baseball writers in there who still have their old ways of thinking. They the ones that say, "Well, this is not how you play the game," and now it's also more feelings over accomplishments. I mean, we talked about a couple years ago, Pete Rose. He died, and they said, "Oh, you know what? We're gonna put him in the Hall of Fame now." You
Right,
know,
like you do it, like you was doing a favor.
yeah, like you did him. Oh, you know what? It's okay now. You know, um, it's the selective outrage for certain players. Um, players that I've been saying for years should be in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. Okay, yeah, he took steroids. Okay, but guess what? He was a 30 and 30 guy before the steroids. He had Hall of Fame numbers in Pittsburgh before the steroids. And we have to be honest about the steroid era. It saved baseball.
Barry Barry
Baseball,
Bonds, Barry Bonds situation. We got like a minute left. Barry Bonds
uh,
situation. Barry Bonds situation don't got nothing to do with steroids, if you ask me. Barry Bonds situation got everything to do with how he treated the press, his relationship with the press. I
but
think
that's
they,
the writers again.
huh?
Yeah, it goes back to the writers again.
Absolutely, Browski. You know what I mean? So again, they use that. And to answer your question, yeah, the Hall of Fame is broken. If Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, then the Hall of Fame is absolutely broken. Pete
Yes.
Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, and Ty Cobb
Broken.
is broken. Down in sports, we are in the building every Tuesday night. We appreciate y'all, man. We know y'all. We appreciate y'all checking us out. We like to give y'all the answers in real time. You know what I mean? We appreciate y'all. Every time I am left-handed at RM Des on Twitter, which is this right now. And over there is my co-D in the building, Yada Bear. How is Alan Trammell in, but not Lou Whitaker? Lou Whitaker's going to get his time. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. We'll talk about that another time. We're about to be out. So, Luke, we appreciate you. We appreciate you for rocking with us from 8 to 9 Eastern Time every Tuesday night down in sports. Myself and my co-D, Yada Bear, a.k.a. High Ceilings, is in the building every Tuesday night. We're about to get up
Peace.
out of here. Oski don't go nowhere. We'll talk to y'all. All right? Y'all be good. Peace.